In our last tutorial, we discussed how to use fills and strokes and merging objects and drawing objects. So create a new flash file, ActionScript 3.0, and let's discuss how to use the rectangle tool finally. If you were to click and hold, you'd see all these different tools that we can draw. We'll be discussing how to use the rectangle tool and rectangle primitive tool. So first we're going to select the rectangle tool and just set the stroke to 10. Make the stroke black, make the fill red, or whatever you want, doesn't matter, and draw it on the stage. Click and drag, and we have our object. Let me make this into, make sure object drawing mode is off, and draw this. Alright, so if we were to look, we have position and size. Position, the x-axis is anything from here, from the left to the right. It's where it's going to be from horizontally. So let's put this at 0, and you see that it's now at the edge of the stage. Y, however, is from up to down. It isn't from down to up. So if we were to put this at 0, you would see that it's the corner now. The width you can change by dragging, or you can double click and set whatever you want. I'm going to make this 200. Make the height 200, which is already done for us. And that's it for the rectangle tool. Something that you can do, select our rectangle tool, you have this option before you draw it, is the rectangle options. If you were to set this to 0, the corners of the rectangle would be round. Pointy. If we were to make this into a 20, all of our corners would be round. If we were to set this to -20, it would be going in like a ticket kind of, a movie ticket kind of thing. If we were to, let's say that we wanted to make these two corners going in and these two corners going out, we would click this little chain right here, which locks these all together. So if you were to change one with this on, it would change all of them. But if you were to unclick it, it would change only the ones you change. So if we were to make this only into 20 and make this only 20, so -20, 20, 20, -20, and we drew the object, you see that we have that. And let's reset this and select our select tool. Now let's say that we wanted to make this 30 and draw it. Now let's say that we wanted to, and later on when we're editing it, we decide that we want to make this into corners again. We don't have that option. That's where the rectangle primitive tool comes in handy. Click the rectangle primitive tool. Let's delete this first. Select the rectangle primitive tool. And we have the same options as the rectangle tool, but if we were to make our object, you'd see that we still have this option for editing the sides, which is great. Now, let's say that if we were to set this to 0, and we decide that we wanted to, we drew it and it's a corner, and we wanted it to be round, we would click the up arrow, the down arrow, and it would make that round. To make it go in, the up arrow, and that's pretty useful before you draw it to see what it looks like. And release. The same thing goes for the rectangle tool. Now, one flaw that the rectangle tool the rectangle primitive tool has, if you would draw and say you wanted to edit the sides, you can't click and drag that. You can only change the corners, and you can't change the sides. So let's go to our rectangle tool and draw it. You can change the sides in the rectangle tool though, but you can't do that with the rectangle primitive tool. If you wanted to change this into if you wanted to edit the sides, you would have to click and break apart. Now would be a rectangle, and you can click and drag, but you can't change it back. So that's the only flaw with this. And that's it for our rectangle and rectangle primitive tool. Thanks.